What's up, family? It's your girl, D-Ray, the Divine Relationship Alchemist, helping you heal your relationship with self to heal your relationship with others. So, on the topic of healing, right? This video right now is about trusting the healer in you. All right? I just had to make this video really quickly because when I do readings, when I do consultations and things of that nature, all I end up doing is giving confirmation to a lot of the things that we know or that my clients know deep down within them, deep in the subconscious mind. There's things there that my energy is able to pick up on, and I just pull it out for you. But if everybody can just trust the healer within themselves, we will be getting, a lot farther within our own spiritual paths and journeys and whenever we deal with other people, right? So the first thing, this is like healing 101, healing basics, right? What you need to know to initiate the healing process, right? And the first thing that you have to do is acknowledge your triggers, okay? Acknowledge your triggers. A lot of times when we get triggered and we're feeling some type of way as we're in a situation or as we're watching something, as we're talking to somebody, and even deeper in our dreams, whenever something triggers us, that means we get into an emotional uproar. We feel some type of way about something, right? And we're talking about the feelings that are low vibrational. There's an array of different emotions that we feel, but they all stem from fear, right? And when I look deeper into it, as I've studied healing, I'm doing more healing work on myself and the people that I deal with, it is ultimately like a survival mechanism. Like really when we cut it down to the basics from an egoic standpoint and from like a shadow self standpoint, it is fear of our death ultimately. Not even a physical death, but a death to who we think we are. A death to these ideals that we've worked up around who we are and how we want to exist and what we want to experience, right? That's what it really boils down to, this fear. Well, I thought this was who I am, and this is who I am, and this is my experience, and this is how I want to live my life. And when things come against that ideal that we've created for ourselves, we get triggered. Now, these ideals that we have about ourselves and the lives that we live and what we project out there to people, these ideals are definitely structured based off of our traumas, right? Like because we've been poor as a child or because we've had, daddy issues and things like this, now this is how I think about men, or this is how I relate to women, or this is my relationship with money because this was my relationship with money as a child and this is what I saw my mom and daddy do, so on and so on and so forth. The way that we think, act, and behave right now, well, we're on this path, so we're understanding that there are things that we are changing. Specifically when we're talking about triggers, most of the times it is things that we have experienced, these ideals that we've created based off the experiences that we've had in our childhood years, in our young adult years, and even the experiences that have just been totally crazy, in our adult years, like the things that have totally shocked us and kind of rocked our world. All right. So the very first thing in healing is acknowledging your triggers. All right. And what do I mean when I say acknowledge your triggers? I mean, whenever these emotions do get kind of brought up to the surface, actually acknowledge that they're there, saying, I'm feeling some type of way. I'm not going to run away from this. Because what I realize in doing my consultations, a lot of people be like, you have this conversation with yourself that's like, I ain't tripping. I don't feel no type of way about this. Like, this is not really a big deal. I'm not even going to trip. You know what I mean? When you're doing that, that says that there's still something there that needs to be healed. There's still something there that needs to be overcame, right? Because if there weren't, it wouldn't even be a thought. It wouldn't even be a thought like, I'm not even going to deal with this. Like you would not have to think about it at all. It would be, you would be engulfed in the moment and you wouldn't be having this internal conversation with yourself. But when that internal conversation comes up like, this situation has the potential to really bother me, or this situation is really bothering me, but I'm not going to show it. that's a sign to you that says this is something that I actually need to look deeper into. All right. And so anytime an experience, in a situation, a conversation, an argument, whatever, it may be, whenever it causes you to have this emotional uproar, whether you're having it in your mind and not showing anybody, or whether it's, so bad to where you do have an outburst, it's something that you need to heal. It's something that you actually need to reflect upon and be like, okay, well, why did this make me feel this way? A lot of the times, y'all, we feel abandonment, we feel rejection, we feel that we're not safe, we feel unloved. That's most of the time the emotions that actually come up. Like whenever I'm working on myself and whenever I'm working with, people who seek out my services, most of the time the feelings that we're triggered by, like I said, it's fear. It's fear that you'll be left alone. It's fear that you are not loved. It's fear that you are not accepted, right? And they come from the experiences that you've had of abandonment, of rejection, of actually having a parent who did not know how to love you properly, or did not know how to give you love the way that you needed it. They only knew how to love based off of what they know and their experience. So the first thing that we got to do is acknowledge the triggers. All right? Don't run away from them. I love the saying, follow the path of least resistance. So that means whatever emotional state of being you are in that moment, let it be. Now, I'm not saying hold on to anger, fear, jealousy, envy, these low vibrational emotions, for longer than the moment to where you're in a situation and you're having your experience. I'm not saying hold on to them. I'm not saying that at all, but don't fight the feelings that you're having when you're having them, all right? Because when you fight them and you reject them and you push them down, all you're doing is adding more to the shadow self or to your lower vibrational side, whatever you want to call it. All you're doing is adding to that. You're not allowing the emotion to come up, and you're actually able to view it head on. You're actually able to investigate and ask yourself the questions that you need to ask in order for you to heal. And so, one, if you are having problems with doing that, you need to come and get a healing consultation from your girl, because I have a gift of asking the right questions that's going to charge you to think on a deeper level and really let the experiences kind of flow, right? I ask the right questions to get you in that mode to really, because you'll tell me an experience. This is what ends up happening. This is what you also need to do for yourself. You'll tell me an experience, and I'm like, okay, and then my spirit, my intuition is going to ask the questions. Like at this point, this is when spirit kind of takes over, and I just ask the right questions that just pulls different things out of you. Now, we got to be able to do this for ourselves. Ask ourselves the right questions to understand what exactly we need to heal, what exactly we need to know and understand. A huge problem in doing this healing work is, one, we don't acknowledge the triggers. We rather push them down. We rather not deal with it. Everybody wants to be on their brother panic shit. Like, so I'm not giving no energy. I'm not, I don't care about nothing. My emotions are solid, da-da-da-da-da-da. Bullshit. Let me tell you. My honest opinion, if you are still here at this space and time right now, you still have some emotional healing to do. You still have some things that you have to purge and release from yourself. And hell, a lot of people transition still having some work that they need to release. This thing says, let your heart be light. Your heart cannot be light when you do make the transition if you don't acknowledge these triggers that you got to deal with, right? So when we're talking about letting your heart be light, we're talking about acknowledging the things that have hurt you, coming to an understanding, making peace with them, releasing them. And that's not to say that you can't be pissed off that your mama did this, and that your daddy was this, and that you grew up poor. You can be mad as hell at that shit. But at some point, we got to let it go. We got to move on. And we have to understand that now is the time that we create our new reality, right? And in order for you to create a new reality and to create a new existence, you have to understand where the past one came from. All right? Because if you don't, then you end up recreating the same situations over and over and over and over again, just with a different face, right? So first, acknowledge the triggers, right? The triggers will lead you into the trauma. Triggers lead to trauma. Triggers lead to trauma. The triggers will show you what traumatic experience you have had in the past that have led you to think, feel, and act in the ways that you do. And the situation that you are in right now is just reminding you of that traumatic experience so that you can dive deeper into it and actually heal it. Please understand, these triggers can come up in the astral. They do come up in the astral realm, right? So you'll have a dream, and in your sleep, you are emotionally involved. You're feeling emotions that are low vibrational. You're feeling fear. You're feeling jealousy. You're feeling all of these different things. Yes, okay? That totally happens in the astral realm. And it's just a thing to let you know, hey, this is something that we really have to deal with on a spiritual level. All right? So acknowledge the triggers. And then the next thing, you got to trust your guidance system, right? You got to trust your guidance system and use your gifts. We all have come here with gifts, like gifts galore. You have multiple gifts. I have multiple gifts. We all have ancestors and spirit guides and all of this help and assistance that we need to actually evolve consciously and go to the different heights and ascend to where we're supposed to be going to. But do we use them all the time? No, we don't, right? And so you have to use your guidance system, use your gifts. For me, I like to use things like the tarot, the oracle cards, and things like that. That's what I use. And of course, meditation. Everybody should be using meditation, because when we meditate, and see my ear, nothing is like coincidence. My ears started tingling just now. But when we meditate, we're actually able to silence our ego mind, that idealistic mind, that mind that says, that conscious mind that says, I'm this person and this is who I am and this is how I'm supposed to live. When we meditate, we lower that mind, we quiet the mind, and we allow our true self, our higher nature, our intuitive nature to speak to us. When that happens in those meditative moments, or because we can get into a meditative state of being while washing dishes, folding clothes, doing yoga, going for a jog. Like, there's so many spaces and places and times when we tap in, right? And our spirit is actually able to communicate with us about what we need to be healing, all right? Again, the issue is that we don't really listen and we don't really trust. So this is my challenge to y'all, whoever watches this video, right? Whenever you get an intuitive nudge, a hunch to do something, first of all, when you're in meditation, do not come out of meditation to do that thing. Don't. You need to continue to meditate. When the meditation is over, then you get to it. If time does not allow, you make sure that at some point within your day, you do it. What that does is sends a message to your higher self, to your intuition, to your spirit, that you are listening, you are ready, and you are up to the task, right? Because when you don't listen, your spirit is like, you ain't listening. Your spirit is like, okay, you're not listening. Let me back a little bit. Let me scoot back a little bit, because you're not really listening. Your spirit, your intuition never stops talking to you, but you start hearing less. Your awareness grows smaller. All right. So next time you get an intuitive nudge, whether it be to read a book, to write something down, to start doing yoga, to fast, whatever you are needing to actually heal, you got to trust that. You got to do it. All right. And then you don't stop till you get enough. Don't stop till you get enough. That also made me think, don't stop, get it, whatever. Don't stop. All right. As much as these triggers come up is as much as you got to deal with it. Right? When you are not triggered is when you know you're good. All right? If the thought of frustration, anger, sadness, if the low vibrational emotions do not appear in these situations, okay, then there is some aspect that you've actually dealt with. But for as long as you are triggered, for as long as some emotional uproar happens that is of a low vibrational nature, then you know you got something to work on. All right? And don't stop. Don't stop. That's the beauty of this thing. That's the beauty of this life. We're constantly working and working and working and working. And we're constantly working our gifts and working our gifts and working our gifts. What if I get a symbolic meaning through animals like an owl or butterfly? That was very significant today. Yeah, that's awesome, Jamard. And so you just have to do the work, do the research on those things. That's what I was about to say. Things like this book right here. There's so many books. There's so much information, right? And so you have to go and research those things. You research the butterfly. You research the owl. And then you figure out where the correspondence comes in for you. And then what you do after that is you start intentionally manifesting butterflies and owls. So, for example, for me, I'll meditate in the morning and I'll say, you know what, I'm going to see a butterfly today. And sure enough, I'm going to see a butterfly at some point throughout my day. And that's going to confirm to me that the transformative work that I've been doing is actually working. And I am being divinely led and divinely guided. And this transformation is actually happening. All right. So you got to always find the correspondence. And that's the thing between the triggers and the traumas. The trigger is always going to have a correspondence directly to a traumatic experience that you have had, right? And then also when you're healing, you're going to start seeing things. You're going to start seeing signs and symbols that correspond with the fact that you have overcome an aspect in your life, right? So, for example, you may have a dream that causes you to feel some type of pain and discomfort. Let's say you come out of that dream, you wake up, you realize, you write it down, okay, I had this dream, I felt this type of way, and then you go into meditation. Let's say you meditate on it for a week straight, 2 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight, however long you feel like you need. Let your spirit guide you on that, right? And then you have a dream of a similar situation, but now the emotion is different. Now you know that you've affected something in the astral, spiritual plane, the mental plane that is transitioning down and corresponding down into the physical plane. All right. So you got to find the correspondences all the time, and you're always going to get those correspondences. You're always going to get experiences that will confirm to you if you've actually healed and if you've actually done the work. You got to do the research, though. You got to be a heavy studier. You got to study yourself. You have to study your emotions. You have to study your triggers. You have to study, okay, what was said that made me react and feel this way? That's another thing. We got to stop reacting. We got to start responding. Whenever we're just reacting, then again, we're just following this habit that we've built up. Right? When we just react to things, we're acting out of habit. And when we act out of habit, that means we're being the same person that we've always been. But when we start responding and we pause and we take a moment and we really investigate, am I about to, come at this situation or address this situation from a higher vibrational level, right? Then we know that we're actually doing the work to be renewed, to be refreshed, to be a different person. All right. So it's a lot of energy going on within me right now, even talking about this, but acknowledge your triggers. Trust your intuitive guidance. Trust the signs and symbols, like Jamard Bob just said. When you see these symbols, you got to know. And also, you have to be a mental alchemist. So you have to make the symbol represent what you know you need it to represent. Like for me, if I see a butterfly, I'm like, oh, I'm transformed. I have been made anew. I have been rebirthed into something that is totally new, totally different. I am someone different. I'm on a high vibration, more beautiful than ever, right? I am existing and exuding a totally different energy, all right? So these are just the different things that we have to tap into. The mental alchemy, right? But in order for you to understand what mental aspects that you actually have to heal and transform, you got to allow these emotions to actually come up. All right? Allow the emotions to come up. Then you're going to follow, your spiritual guidance. You're going to ask spirit, hey, what is this? Show me images. You'll go to sleep. You'll have a dream about your childhood. You're like, oh, shit, that's where that comes from. Right? Or you'll go into meditation, or a flash, a glimpse, a vision will come across your mind that will just let you know exactly what this thing is. All right. And then when you get that thing, you tap into your guidance tools, your spiritual baths, your oracle cards, you get readings from me or from Mood. You just put in the work. You don't stop till you get enough. Okay. You don't stop until you are no longer triggered by the same thing. Right. To no longer be triggered would mean the thought that this even has the potential to piss you off, to make you feel some type of way, does not even come up. All right. Love y'all. Peace. Relationshipalchemy.org for your healing consultations and for your readings. I have been on a roll, okay, with these consultations, and I'm just seeing major breakthroughs in the people that I have been working with. So be one of those people, okay? Also for the month of October, $10, 10-minute readings and consultations, right? Get it in. The 10 minutes is really quick. You're going to be wanting to come back for more. But it's all amazing. It's all good. All right. Relationshipalchemy.org. Like, share the video, comment. What healing techniques do you use? Peace.